Very good afternoon to one and all. I welcome you all for the next lecture of heat transfer, and I pardon for uh, delaying this lecture. I know how much eagerly you are waiting for the heat transfer lecture. So pardon me, I've delayed this particular lecture because of uh, one TPO activity. That is, final year interviews are going on for one of the mechanical company, and for that reason, I was engaged in that particular activity. So I was delayed by half an hour to conduct this lecture. Okay, so pardon for the same, and please let me know whether my voice is audible to you and can you see my presentation. So quickly we can start our case number 3. Whether my screen is visible and can you see my present? Can you hear my voice? Please let me know in the chat box whether my voice is audible and my screen is visible. Okay, great, great, great. No issue. So in the last lecture, we have discussed the case number 2, that is the fin tip is insulated. So that was our case number 2, and we have derived the temperature distribution equation for case number 2 and also the heat transfer equation for the case number 2. And we also discussed the problem on the case number 2. Okay, one problem we have discussed in the last lecture which is related to the case number 2. Now in this particular lecture we are trying to understand the case number 3. Okay, so case number 3 is fin of a finite length losing heat from its end by convection, losing heat by uh, convection from its end. Okay, so that is our case number 3. So this case is more realistic case. So it will be more complicated as the previous two cases are there. Okay, so this case is more complicated as compared to previous two cases, but the understanding is very simple one. As we have discussed, we are considering uh, 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 the length of a fin is a finite one, so that is nothing but what we can easily differ this particular case from the case number 1. So in case number 1, the fin length was infinite. Okay, and in the problem statement they have directly mentioned that the fin is having very long length. Or we can separate out the case number 1 from other two in such a manner that if in the problem statement they have provided the tip of fin temperature is equal to the ambient air temperature, so in that case also we can say that the fin length we have to consider the infinite one. So in such a manner we can differentiate the case number 2, case number 1 from the another two cases, whereas the case number 2 is differentiated when in the problem it is provided that consider the fin tip is insulated or the fin length is provided and you have to determine the fin end temperature. So in that case we can use the case number 2, whereas the case number 3 is different from this previous two, as we are going to consider the finite length also and the end of the tip or end of the fin or the tip of the fin is transferring the heat by convection to the external environment. So in this way we can differentiate these three cases. Okay, so what will be the boundary condition in that case? Okay, so here we can see that at x is equal to 0 we have to use the same boundary condition. Here in this particular case at the x is equal to 0 we have to use the same boundary condition. First boundary condition is common for all the three cases, that is nothing but at base of that particular fin, that is nothing but when the length of a fin is 0, that is x is equal to 0, the temperature of the fin we have to consider as a T naught, that is the base temperature, and difference between the ambient air and the base temperature and the ambient air, that is nothing but temperature difference, that is equal to theta. Theta is equal to T naught minus TA, that will be theta naught. But the end fin temperature, as here we are considering that the end is not insulated, okay, and fin is finite one. So that, and the concept we are considering that the end of the fin is convecting heat to the external environment, is convecting heat to the external environment. So in that particular case, how much heat is delivered to the end of fin, that much heat we have to consider as it will deliver to the external environment. That much heat we need to consider as it will deliver to the external environment. So in that particular case, we have to consider that the amount of heat is conducted to the end of fin, that much amount of heat is convected from the end of fin to the external environment, to the external environment. So in that case, we have to consider that amount of heat conducted to the end of fin as by Fourier's law as minus k multiplied by a suffix cs multiplied by dt divided by dx, and we have to consider this particular temperature gradient or differentiation of a t with respect to x at x is equal to L. Okay, and this much amount of heat will be delivered to the end of the fin, and that much amount of heat will be delivered to the external environment. So that Fourier's law, amount of heat delivered to the end of fin will be equal to h multiplied by a suffix yes u, that is nothing but surface area. A suffix su is nothing but surface area multiplied by t minus ta. Okay, multiplied by t minus ta. So that equation we need to consider as a second boundary condition, as a second boundary condition. First boundary condition is similar, as x at x is equal to 0, t becomes t naught, and the temperature difference, that is nothing but theta is equal to theta naught, will be equal to t naught minus ta. Okay, whereas the second boundary condition, that is nothing but x is equal to L, we have to consider that the amount of heat transferred to the tip of fin, that much amount of heat will be convected to the external environment. Okay, to be convected to the external environment. So we have to apply the formula for the Fourier's law and for the Newton's law, and we have to equate that particular formula equal to each other at the tip of fin. Okay, so when x is equal to L, when x is equal to L, we have to consider the case that amount of heat conducted to the end of fin or the tip of fin as minus k multiplied by a suffix cs. A suffix cs is the cross section area or the perpendicular area for the heat transfer multiplied by dt divided by dx at x is equal to L, which is equal to amount of heat delivered to the external environment, that can be determined by using the Newton's law. So Newton's law states that h multiplied by a suffix su. A suffix su is the surface area. So how much surface area available for the heat transfer for the convection, multiplied by temperature difference between the surface and the environment, that is T minus TA, that is T minus TA. Okay, so here T is nothing but the end fin temperature or the fin tip temperature minus environment temperature as a TA. Okay, so that will be our case number 2. That will be our case number 2. Getting everyone? Is there any question, any doubt? So please note down the case number 3. Case number 3. Case number 3. Fin of a finite length. Fin of finite length losing heat from its end. Fin of a finite length. Fin of a finite length losing heat from its end by convection, losing heat from its end by convection. So this is our case number 3. Draw the necessary diagram for this particular case and give the appropriate nomenclature. Now here you can see that the temperature profile we are getting, okay, as the heat is transforming to the end of the fin, the temperature of fin goes on decreasing as some of the amount of heat will be convected at each element or of that particular fin. So the amount of temperature, or temperature will goes on decreasing over the surface of fin. Okay, so this much amount of, at this particular point we have to consider that this is the temperature of end of the fin, okay, or the tip of the fin. From this particular level, or from this particular end or the tip, heat will be convected to the external environment. Heat will be convected to the external environment. So further we have to consider this particular graph for the convection. Further, this graph is provided, or temperature profile is provided, extended temperature profile is provided for the convection. For the convection, getting everyone? So draw and write down the boundary condition. Freehand sketching is required. If you have any doubt, any question, you can ask. I suggest, for more visibility of diagram and content, you can rotate your mobile screen, or you can use the zoom feature. Over. Have you drawn the diagram? So you can write the boundary condition as at x is equal to 0, first boundary condition, which is common for all the three cases. At x is equal to 0, t becomes t naught. At x is equal to 0, t becomes t naught. At that time, theta becomes theta naught, t becomes t naught, and theta becomes theta naught, which is equal to t naught minus ta, which is equal to t naught minus ta. And at x is equal to L, second boundary condition, at x is equal to L, comma, at x is equal to L, comma, here heat conducted to the tip of fin here heat conducted to the tip of fin, here heat conducted to the tip of fin must be equal to the 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 heat convected away from tip heat convected away from tip to ambient. Okay, you can say that ambient air, ambient air. Okay, so the equation we will get for the case number 2 or boundary condition number 2 is minus k multiplied by a suffix cs multiplied by dt divided by dx multiplied by dt divided by dx at x is equal to L, at x is equal to L, equal to h multiplied by a suffix su multiplied by t minus ta. Okay, consider the difference between a suffix cs and a suffix su. Okay, a suffix cs is the cross section area. Okay, cross section area means what? If you stand in front of that particular fin, what area we are getting? That is nothing but the cross section area. Okay, so that will be the width multiplied by the thickness. Okay, width multiplied by thickness. By 3D diagram you can understand that. But the surface area is nothing but the, if you consider the for the whole fin, the surface area will be the entire surface of that particular fin, entire surface of that particular fin. So that we have discussed in the first derivation only for the governing equation. Okay, so the entire surface of fin. Okay, but here we are considering the surface area of tip of fin. Okay, here we are considering the surface area of tip of fin. So h multiplied by a suffix su multiplied by t minus ta, t minus ta. Okay, so our governing equation, we have to consider the governing equation, because out of that particular governing equation only we have to consider the C1 and C2 values, and we have to replace the C1 and C2 values whatever we have determined in the governing equation only. So write down the governing equation. Governing equation, theta is equal to C1 multiplied by e raised to mx plus C2 multiplied by e raised to minus mx. Give this equation number as 1. C1 multiplied by e raised to mx plus C2 multiplied by e raised to minus mx. Okay, apply first boundary condition as we have discussed previously in both the cases. Apply first boundary condition, and after applying first boundary condition, that is when x is equal to 0, theta becomes theta naught, where theta naught is equal to t naught minus ta. Okay, so when we put x is equal to 0, we will get the equation as theta naught is equal to c1 plus c2. That will be our equation number 2. Theta naught is equal to c1 plus c2. That will be our equation number 2. Apply first boundary condition. And write down the equation theta naught is equal to c1 plus c2, c1 plus c2, which is our equation number 2. Okay, next, now consider the second boundary condition. So consider the second boundary condition. In second boundary condition, we have considered the two parts. First one is heat conducted to the tip of fin. So tip is situated at the end of that particular fin. So at the end of fin, the x becomes L. Okay, so heat conducted at x is equal to L is, heat conducted at x is equal to L is, according to the Fourier law, we can write that equation as, which is equal to minus k multiplied by a suffix cs multiplied by dt divided by dx at x is equal to L, at x is equal to L. Getting everyone? Where you can write where a suffix cs is the cross section area for heat conduction, cross section area or the perpendicular surface area for the heat conduction. cross section area E suffix CS is equal to cross section area for heat conduction. Cross section area for heat conduction. Okay, so further the tip is losing the heat. The tip is losing the heat by convection, so we have to consider the Newton's law of cooling at the tip of fin. Okay, we have to consider the Newton's law of cooling at the tip of fin. So we can write the convection heat transfer at the tip of fin as H multiplied by A suffix SU, that is the surface area available for the heat transfer at the tip of fin, multiplied by surface temperature of tip of fin, that is T minus TA, because we don't know the temperature. Okay, tip of fin temperature, so it will be the variable T minus TA. T minus TA. Okay, so write down as fin is losing heat, as fin is losing heat at the tip, as fin is losing heat at the tip, it should be convection. It should be convection and is given as which is equal to H multiplied by A suffix SU multiplied by T minus TA, You can write where A suffix SU is equal to surface area for convective heat transfer. A suffix SU is equal to surface area for convective heat transfer. A suffix SU is equal to surface area for convective heat transfer. Now, according to our boundary condition, we can write, according to our second boundary condition, we can write minus K multiplied by A suffix CS, minus K multiplied by A suffix CS, multiplied by dt divided by dx, at x is equal to L, which will be equal to H multiplied by A suffix SU multiplied by T minus TA. This will be the equation we are getting according to the second boundary condition. That will be our equation number 3. Now at the bottom, I have written one statement that in this particular case, both A suffix CS and A suffix SU, both are same. Okay, both are same. How we can say that both are same? Now consider that we are at the tip of fin. Okay, we are at the tip of fin. So tip of the fin, what will be the surface area? Tip का surface area कितना रहेगा? टिप का सरफेस एरिया कितना रहेगा? उतना रहेगा जितना उसका विड्थ है मल्टीप्लाई बाय जितना उसका थिकनेस है. ओके, बी मल्टीप्लाई बाय वाई, उतना ही टिप का सरफेस एरिया रहेगा. टिप का सरफेस एरिया समझ रहे हो? टिप है, यहाँ पे ये टिप है. ओके, सो इसका सरफेस एरिया कितना रहेगा? सो जितना उसका क्रॉस सेक्शन एरिया है उतना ही उसका सरफेस एरिया रहेगा टिप का. ओके, जितना क्रॉस सेक्शन उस फिन का है उतना ही टिप का surface area रहेगा. So we can say that the cross section area of a fin is equal to the surface area available at the fin tip for the convection heat transfer. Surface area available at the fin tip for the convection heat transfer. Getting everyone? Is there any question, any doubt? So we can say that the cross section area will be equal to the surface area at the tip of fin. The cross section area will be equal to the surface area of the fin tip. Okay, so in this case, write down in this case A suffix CS, in this case A suffix CS, in this case A suffix CS and A suffix SU both are same. both are same. So we'll get a suffix cs is equal to a suffix su. A suffix cs is equal to a suffix su. So our equation 3 becomes a suffix cs and a suffix su will be cancelled, as this both the quantities are same. A suffix cs and a suffix su for the tip of fin, both the quantities are same. So because of that, this will be cancelled, and we'll get the equation as minus k multiply by dt divided by dx at x is equal to L, which is equal to h multiply by t minus ta. H multiply by t minus ta. Okay. So further we have transferred the k on this side. Okay, thermal minus k on this side. So we will get the dt divided by dx at x is equal to L. Dt divided by dx at x is equal to L, which is equal to minus h into bracket t minus ta minus h into bracket t minus ta whole divided by k whole divided by k. Okay, and we know that t minus ta is nothing but theta. T minus ta is nothing but theta. That is our consideration. T minus ta is nothing but theta. So we will get the equation number 4 as dt divided by dx at x is equal to L equal to minus h theta divided by k. H theta divided by k. So that will be our equation number 4. Okay. Is there any question, any doubt? Please write down the equations. Dt divided by dx at x is equal to L will be equal to minus h theta divided by k. That will be our equation number 4. Now once again consider the governing equation. So governing equation is theta is equal to c1 e raised to mx plus c2 e raised to minus mx. Okay, where theta is nothing but t minus ta, which is equal to c1 multiplied by e raised to mx plus c2 multiplied by e raised to minus mx. So once again we have to differentiate this particular governing equation, and we have to determine the temperature gradient from the governing equation at x is equal to L. Okay, and then we have to equate that particular temperature gradient at x is equal to L for the equation number 4. So once again we are going to consider the governing equation and write down. Now consider governing equation. So governing equation is theta is equal to c1 e raised to mx. Theta is equal to c1 e raised to mx plus c2 e raised to minus mx and here theta is nothing but t minus ta, which is equal to c1 multiplied by e raised to mx plus c2 multiplied by e raised to mx, e raised to minus mx. Now here we have to differentiate this particular governing equation, and we have to determine dt divided by dx at x is equal to 0 from the governing equation. Okay, so differentiate with respect to x. And after differentiation, we'll get the differentiation of a t as dt divided by dx, as t is the variable, and differentiation of a ta will become a 0 as this ta is the constant, and c1 will be constant as it is. E raised to mx differentiation is e raised to mx multiplied by m, and here in the second term c2 is the constant, and differentiation of e raised to minus mx is e raised to minus mx multiplied by minus m. Okay, e raised to minus mx multiplied by minus 1. So we'll get the equation as, after differentiation we'll get the equation as dt divided by dx, which is equal to c1 multiplied by e raised to mx multiplied by m C1 multiplied by e raised to mx multiplied by m plus C2 multiplied by e raised to minus mx multiplied by minus m, C2 multiplied by e raised to minus mx multiplied by minus m. And we have to determine this differentiation of a t at x is equal to L. Okay, we have to determine this differentiation at x is equal to L. So dt divided by dx at x is equal to L will become instead of x we can replace that particular x with respect to by L. Okay, we can replace x by L in the equation. So dt divided by dx at x is equal to L will become C1 multiplied by e raised to ml multiplied by m, C1 multiplied by e raised to ml multiplied by m plus C2 multiplied by e raised to minus ml, C2 multiplied by e raised to minus ml multiplied by minus m multiplied by minus m. Okay, so after replacing x by L, we will get this particular equation. Now we have taken m common from the both the terms, and we will get the equation number 5 as dt divided by dx at x is equal to L, which is equal to, if you take m common, then it will be equal to m inside the bracket C1 multiplied by e raised to ml minus C2 multiplied by e raised to minus ml, C2 multiplied by e raised to minus ml. E raised to minus ml. Okay, so from equation 4 also we are getting dt divided by dx at x is equal to L, and from equation number 5 also we are getting dt divided by dx at x equal to L. So we can write from equation number 4 and 5, we can equate equation number 4 and 5. So from equation number 4, dt divided by dx at x is equal to L we are getting as h theta divided by k, and from equation number 5, dt divided by dx at x is equal to L we are getting m multiplied by C1 inside the bracket C1 multiplied by e raised to ml minus C2 multiplied by e raised to minus ml. So equate that two equations. So we will get the equation h theta divided by k. So here minus sign should be there, right? Minus h theta, right? Minus h theta divided by k, which will be equal to m inside the bracket C1 e raised to ml, C1 e raised to ml minus C2 e raised to minus ml, C2 multiplied by e raised to minus ml. Okay, so once again we have to replace this theta. We have to replace this theta by our governing equation. We have to replace this theta by our governing equation. So governing equation is theta is equal to C1 e raised to mx plus C2 e raised to minus mx. So replace that theta by the governing equation, or put up the value of theta from the governing equation. As we know that we have to consider this value at x is equal to L. So theta we have to also consider at x is equal to L. Okay, so theta at x is equal to L according to the governing equation. If you replace x is equal to L in the governing equation, so we will get theta at x is equal to L. Okay, so theta according to the governing equation at x is equal to L will be equal to C1 e raised to ml plus C2 e raised to minus ml. Okay, so consider this value for the theta and replace that value in whatever the equation previously we have considered in this equation. Okay, in this equation we have to replace the theta by C1 e raised to ml plus C2 e raised to minus ml. Okay, so we'll get the equation by replacing theta at x is equal to L. We'll get the equation minus h divided by k multiplied by m, minus h divided by k multiplied by m, whole multiplied by inside the bracket C1 multiplied by e raised to ml plus C2 multiplied by e raised to minus ml, which is equal to C1 multiplied by e raised to ml minus C2 e raised to minus ml, minus C2 e raised to minus ml. Is there any doubt, any question up till now? So write down this equation. Now we have to determine one of the value of at least one of the value from this equation, that is C1 or C2 constant. So for that reason, we have to convert the equation in the form of one of the quantity. Okay. So to convert this, we have one equation, that is nothing but equation number 2, which we have calculated or discovered from first boundary condition, that is nothing but theta naught is equal to C1 plus C2. Okay. Theta naught is equal to C1 plus C2. So convert this equation in the form of a C2, so that our previous equation will get in the form of a C1 only. We'll get that particular equation in the form of a C1 only. Okay. So we have the equation number 2 as theta naught is equal to C1 plus C2. So convert this equation in the form of a C2. So we'll get the equation for the C2 as theta naught minus C1 is equal to C2. And put this particular C2 value in above equation. Put this C2 value in this particular equation. Put the C2 value in this equation. Wherever the C2 is there, instead of that C2, we can put theta naught minus C1. Theta naught minus C1. Theta naught minus C1. Okay. So after putting C2 value in the above equation, we'll get this equation. So we'll get the equation. We have to replace the C2 by theta naught minus C1. So we'll get the equation minus H divided by K multiplied by M whole multiplied by inside the bracket C1 multiplied by e raised to ml, plus instead of C2 we have considered theta naught minus C1 multiplied by e raised to minus ml, which is equal to C1 multiplied by e raised to ml minus inside the bracket instead of C2 we have considered theta naught minus C1 multiplied by e raised to minus ml. Okay. Further, we have to perform the multiplication inside the bracket. We have to multiply by e raised to minus ml inside the bracket. Okay, we have to multiply by e raised to minus ml inside the bracket, so that we will get the equation minus h divided by k multiplied by m whole multiplied by c1 multiplied by e raised to ml plus theta naught plus theta naught. How come plus sign will be there? Yes, plus sign will be there. Plus theta naught multiply by e raised to minus ml minus c1 multiply by e raised to minus ml. Okay, which is equal to c1 e raised to ml minus, okay, minus sign is there, so minus theta naught multiply by e raised to minus ml, so that minus theta naught multiply by e raised to minus ml, and this minus sign and this minus sign will become plus. Okay, so we'll get plus c1 e raised to minus ml. We'll get plus c1 e raised to minus ml. Okay, have you written this equation? Now further we have to consider the C1 term on one side and without C1 term on the another side. Okay, so we have taken the C1 term on one side and without C1 term on the another side. So here if you multiply minus h divided by k multiplied by m inside the bracket, so we'll get the multiplication, and further we have to consider the C1 term on the one side and take out the C1 common from that particular terms. So we'll get the equation or one side as C1 inside the bracket e raised to ml plus e raised to minus ml plus h divided by k multiplied by m inside the bracket e raised to ml minus e raised to minus ml. Okay, so that square bracket will be completed. And if you consider the non C1 term on the another side, so and if you take the common theta naught multiplied by e raised to minus ml, you will get on the right hand side as theta naught multiplied by e raised to minus ml inside the bracket 1 minus h divided by k multiplied by m. Okay, so if you want to perform the more operation, mathematical operation, you can leave the space in between this particular equation and this particular equation. Okay, so I don't want to give more time to do the mathematical operation. If you understand the concept, then it will be performed by you only, no doubt on your ability that you know better how to perform the mathematical operation. Okay, so if you want to perform, you leave some space in between two equations, and you can directly jump to this equation that we have combined all the equation on which you have all the variables on one side which contain C1, and we have taken the C1 common from that particular variables, and we will get this particular equation. And another side non C1 terms we have gathered together, and we have taken theta naught multiplied by e raised to minus ml common. So we'll get C1 inside the bracket in square bracket in bracket e raised to ml plus e raised to minus ml plus h divided by k multiplied by m whole multiplied by e raised to ml minus e raised to minus ml, bracket complete, square bracket complete, which is equal to theta naught multiplied by e raised to minus ml in square bracket 1 minus h divided by k multiplied by m, 1 minus h divided by k multiplied by m. So this will be the C1. This will be the C1. If you transfer this square bracket on the another hand, then we'll get the C1 as C1 is equal to theta naught multiplied by e raised to minus ml in a square bracket 1 minus h divided by k multiplied by m whole divided by in square bracket e raised to ml plus e raised to minus ml plus h divided by k multiplied by m multiplied by e raised to ml minus e raised to minus ml, bracket complete, square bracket complete. Have you written? So one constant value, one integration constant value we are getting from this particular equation, that is nothing but C1, and C2 can be calculated by considering the equation theta naught is equal to theta naught minus C1 is equal to C2. Okay, theta naught minus C1 is equal to C2. So we'll get the C2. I will not perform the mathematical operation. I will directly write here directly C2. So you can perform that mathematical operation. Okay, you can leave some space for the mathematical operation, and you can directly jump to this equation. Okay, so C2 is equal to theta naught multiplied by e raised to ml, theta naught multiplied by e raised to ml multiplied by inside the square bracket 1 plus h divided by k multiplied by m, 1 plus h divided by k multiplied by m whole divided by in square root in square bracket in bracket e raised to ml plus e raised to minus ml plus h divided by k multiplied by m multiplied by e raised to ml minus e raised to minus ml. Is there any doubt, any question? Okay, so once you get the C1 and C2, okay, once you get the C1 and C2, further thing is nothing but we have to consider the governing equation and we have to replace the C1 and C2 from the governing equation by this particular equations. Okay, so consider the governing equation as theta is equal to C1 multiplied by e raised to mx plus C2 multiplied by e raised to minus mx. Okay, theta is equal to C1 multiplied by e raised to mx plus C2 multiplied by e raised to minus mx. Okay, and further we have to replace C1 and C2 by this particular two equations. Okay, and we have to perform the mathematical operations. Okay, so I will not perform that mathematical operation, just I will directly jump to the final equation, final conclusion equation, that is nothing but theta divided by theta naught. After doing mathematical operation by replacing C1 by that two particular equation, we will get the equation as theta divided by theta naught, which is equal to theta divided by theta naught, which is equal to in first bracket e raised to m raised to l minus x plus e raised to minus m raised to l minus x bracket complete plus in another term h divided by k multiplied by m whole multiplied by e raised to m multiplied by l minus x minus e raised to minus m multiplied by l minus x whole divided by e raised to ml plus e raised to minus ml plus h divided by k multiplied by m multiplied by e raised to ml minus e raised to minus ml. Okay, so if you perform the mathematical operations for this particular equation after replacing C1 and C2 by given quantities, then you will get this particular equation. Okay, theta divided by theta naught. Write down this equation. Now further divide this equation throughout. Okay, divide this equation throughout. Throughout dividation means to the numerator also and to the denominator also. So here, if you divide this first bracket by 2, that is e raised to m into bracket l minus x plus e raised to minus m inside the bracket l minus x. So we know that e raised to x plus e raised to minus x divided by 2 is nothing but cos hyperbolic of x. Okay, is nothing but cos hyperbolic of x. So here instead of x, rest factor is m multiplied by l minus x. So and here also minus m multiplied by l minus x. So we'll get the first term instead of this particular first term after dividation by 2, we'll get cos hyperbolic of m in square bracket m multiplied by in bracket l minus x. Okay, plus now here we know that if you divide this particular bracket by 2, we know that e raised to x minus e raised to minus x divided by 2 is nothing but sine hyperbolic of x. And here instead of x, the rest factor is m multiplied by L minus x, so that we will get instead of this bracket we will get sine hyperbolic of m multiplied by L minus x. Okay, instead of this particular bracket we will get sine hyperbolic of m multiplied by L minus x. To understand this, you have to consider the formulas we have considered at the initial stage only. Okay, that formulas are important to convert the equations in the form of a sine, cos, tan. Okay, and further, once again, if you divide this first bracket of denominator e raised to ml plus e raised to minus ml divided by 2, so that will be the cos hyperbolic of ml. Okay, and if you divide the this particular bracket from the second term in the denominator, that is e raised to ml minus e raised to minus ml divided by 2, then it will be the sine hyperbolic of ml. Okay, then it will be the sine hyperbolic of ml. Okay, so we can write this equation instead of by considering our formulas. Okay, and theta is nothing but t minus t suffix a, and theta naught is t naught minus ta. Okay, so you can write this in this manner, t minus ta. So this is temperature distribution equation. This is temperature distribution equation. Now further we have to find out the rate of heat flow. So, or heat transfer rate. Heat transfer rate we have to find out. So heat transfer rate, how we are determining? We are considering that heat is how much heat is received by the fin at the base of fin, that much heat will be transferred that particular fin to the environment. So Q fin will be equal to minus K multiplied by A suffix CS multiplied by dt divided by dx at the base of fin. At the base means at x is equal to 0. At x is equal to 0. Okay, so that will be equation we have to consider. Now here we have to determine the dt divided by dx at x is equal to 0 from the temperature distribution equation. Okay, from the temperature distribution equation. So once again we have to consider the temperature distribution equation. Okay, and we have to determine dt divided by dx at x is equal to 0 from this temperature distribution equation. So for that reason we have to transfer T naught minus Ta on the another side. So it will be multiply of T naught minus Ta multiply of that bracket t minus ta. So it will be very short now if I convert this. Okay, if I change. Okay, so we'll get t minus ta is equal to t naught minus ta multiply by, in the numerator, cos hyperbolic of m into bracket L minus x plus h divided by k multiply by m multiply by, in square bracket, sin hyperbolic of m multiply by L minus x whole divided by cos hyperbolic of ml plus h divided by k multiply by m whole multiply by sin hyperbolic of ml. Okay, now we have to differentiate this equation with respect to x. Okay, we have to differentiate this equation with respect to x. So differentiation will be differentiation of a dt divided, the first term t minus ta will be the dt divided by dx. Okay, dt divided by dx. Okay, differentiation of t is dt divided by dx minus differentiation of t suffix a is 0, so we'll get dt divided by dx is equal to t naught minus ta. Okay, so t naught minus ta is the constant, it will be remain as it is. Now the differentiation of cos hyperbolic of a bracket will be sin hyperbolic. Okay, will be the sin hyperbolic of m multiplied by L minus x and multiply by the differentiation of bracket. Okay, so m multiplied by L minus m multiplied by x. So m multiplied by L is the constant, so differentiation of m multiplied by L is 0. So minus m multiplied by x, differentiation will be minus m. Differentiation will be minus m. Okay, so in a similar fashion for the another bracket, so h divided by k multiplied by um, it will remain as it is. Differentiation of sine hyperbolic is cos hyperbolic. Okay, and multiply by minus m. So dt divided by dx okay, so you can use the zoom feature. Actually the terms are not fitted over here, so that I have to reduce the size of the terms. So you can use the zoom feature and you can write this. Okay, and the denominator cos hyperbolic of m multiplied by L plus h divided by k multiplied by m multiplied by sin hyperbolic of ml. So this is the constant, there is no variable present in the denominator, so there is no need to take the differentiation of a denominator. Okay, so we have to take the differentiation of a numerator only. We have to take the differentiation of numerator only. So if you take the minus m common out of this term, so we'll get if you take the minus m common, if you remove the minus m from this side here and from this position, and if you take it multiply by minus m, okay, so it will be in this manner. Okay, now if you take the differentiation at x is equal to 0, x is equal to 0. Okay, if you take the differentiation at x is equal to 0, so this, in this bracket, it will remain only m multiplied by L, m multiplied by L. Okay, and here also m multiplied by L, m multiplied by L. Okay, so if you take x will become 0, if you take the differentiation at x is equal to 0, then x will become a 0. Okay, we'll get this particular equation. Is there any doubt, any question? Whether you understood? So that will be our dt divided by dx at x is equal to 0. So this particular dt divided by dx at x is equal to 0, we have to put up in our Q-fin equation. In this equation, we have to put up dt divided by dx. So instead of this, we can consider T naught minus TA multiplied by minus m multiplied by that particular fraction. Further, we know the value of m. Value of m. What is the value of m? Or the equation for m is under root of HP divided by K multiplied by ACS. Okay, just put up that particular value. And this minus minus will be plus. Okay. So I will take. H multiplied by P divided by K multiplied by A suffix CS. Okay, so that will be the Q-fin. Please zoom your screen if you are not visible these particular equations. I have to make it in line so that it will be understood to everyone. Okay. So further, here also minus sign we have to remove. So we'll get K multiplied by A suffix CS multiplied by T naught minus TA multiplied by under root HP divided by K multiplied by A suffix CS, which is the value of m, and multiply by that particular fraction sin hyperbolic of ml plus h divided by K multiplied by m multiplied by cos hyperbolic of ml whole divided by cos hyperbolic of ml plus h divided by km multiplied by sin hyperbolic of ml. Okay, so divided by square root of K multiplied by as, and here without square root K multiplied by as. So out of that, one square root will be cancelled and we will get the equation as for the Q-fin. As we can say. So I will remove this square root bracket here and I will make it here insert equation square root of h multiplied by p multiplied by k multiplied by a suffix cs. Okay, so that will be the square root bracket multiplied by T naught minus TA multiplied by sin hyperbolic, that particular fraction. Now here for this particular fraction, divide by cos hyperbolic of ml throughout, divide by cos hyperbolic ml m multiplied by l. Okay, so if you divide this particular cos hyperbolic ml throughout, that is from for the numerator also and for the denominator also. So sin hyperbolic of ml divided by cos hyperbolic of ml will be equal to tan hyperbolic of ml, and here only h divided by k multiplied by will remain, that is if you divide cos hyperbolic of ml by cos hyperbolic of ml, so it will be 1. So we'll get in the numerator as cos hyperbolic of tan hyperbolic of ml plus h divided by k multiplied by m whole divided by, once again, cos hyperbolic of ml divided by cos hyperbolic of ml will be equal to 1, and sin hyperbolic of ml divided by cos hyperbolic of ml will be tan hyperbolic of ml. Okay, getting everyone? So I will consider this equation once again, and instead of this I will write the tan hyperbolic of ml. I will remove this bracket. Okay, so h, here also I will remove this bracket, and instead of this I can write the tan hyperbolic of ml. Okay, so here one should be there. Okay, so this equation you will get for the heat transfer. So this will be your final equation for the heat transfer rate. Okay, is there any doubt, any question, whether you understood how you perform the calculation part or this particular mathematical operation part? Is there any doubt, any question? So this will be your final heat transfer equation. Is there any doubt, any question? Whether you understood the temperature distribution equation and the heat transfer equation for the case number 3? Is there any doubt, any question? Okay, we'll consider one problem on this particular concept. If you have written this all the equations, then you can write the problem statement. Write down the problem statement. A motor body 360 mm in diameter, in bracket outer, a motor body 360 mm in diameter, in bracket outer or outside diameter is provided for the motor body. A motor body 360 mm in diameter, in bracket outside, and 240 mm long, full stop, and 240 mm long, full stop. Its surface temperature should not exceed 55 degrees Celsius. Okay, best temperature of motor body is provided. Its surface temperature should not exceed 55 degrees Celsius. When dissipating 340 watt, when dissipating 340 watt means that particular surface is dissipating energy or the heat of a 340 watt. Okay, so full stop. Longitudinal fin of longitudinal fin of longitudinal fin of 15 mm thickness, longitudinal fin of 15 mm thickness, longitudinal fin of 15 mm thickness and 40 mm height and 40 mm height and 40 mm height and 40 mm height are proposed are proposed are proposed full stop. The convective coefficient is the convective coefficient is 40 watt per meter square degree Celsius, 40 watt per meter square degree Celsius, 40 watt per meter square degree Celsius, full stop. 40 watt per meter square degree Celsius, full stop. Determine the number of fins required. Determine the number of fins required. Determine the number of fins required full stop. Atmospheric temperature is 30 degrees Celsius. Atmospheric temperature is 30 degrees Celsius and K is equal to 40 watt per meter degree Celsius and K is equal to 40 watt per meter degree Celsius. Okay, so this is the problem statement and we have to assume something. Okay, so consider that this is the motor body. Okay, this is the motor body. Okay, and over that particular motor body we have placed one longitudinal fin. Okay, we have placed a longitudinal fin and the dimensions of that particular fins are provided. Okay, so if you have to provide the fin over the motor, then you can't provide the fin on the half of the surface of a motor. Okay, you have to provide the fin over the entire length of that particular motor. Okay, you have to provide the length you have to provide the fin over the entire length of that particular length of a motor, over that particular length of motor. Okay, so as the length of motor is 240 mm, as the length of motor is 240 mm, so our fin width should be 240 mm. समझ में आ रहा है? जितनी उस मोटर की लेंथ रहेगी उतनी उस फिन की भी विड्थ रहेगी. Okay, so that will be the first assumption to solve this particular problem on the in the case of a motor. Okay, and the thickness of a fin is provided, so that is nothing but y value is provided, and b we have to consider as 240 mm, and height of that particular fin is also provided, I think so. Okay, length of fin 40 mm height, so that will be considered as this height, this side. Okay, that will be the length of a fin. L is equal to 40 mm. Getting everyone? So draw this in a simple manner so that the problem will be understood if you read once again. Okay, draw the simple figure. Motor body. This is the motor body. Okay, circular motor is there because body diameter is provided 360 mm. So circular motor body we have to consider. Okay, and over that circular motor body, fin is provided. Fin width we need to consider as the length of motor body. Okay, so length of motor body is 240 mm, and the thickness of motor body, thickness of fin is provided. So y is equal to 15 mm. Now they have asked that how much number of fins are required to dissipate the heat of 340 watt. Okay, so 340 वाट इतनी हीट डिसिपिएट करने के लिए उस मोटर बॉडी पर कितने फिन्स लगाने पड़ेंगे, ये आपका क्वेश्चन है. ओके, तो हमें पहले क्या फाइंड आउट करना पड़ेगा कि एक फिन कितनी हीट डिसिपिएट करती है, वो हमें डिटरमाइन करना पड़ेगा. Now, how to categorize this particular problem in the third case? How to categorize this particular problem in the third case? As here, in this particular problem, they haven't indicate either the fin is insulated at the end or uh, uh, and they have provided the fin length. Okay, so they have not provided that fin is insulated at the end. Okay, so this is not a problem of a case number 2. Okay, case number 2 is fin is insulated at the end, but they haven't provided any data related to that, or they have not stated that fin is insulated in this particular problem statement. So this particular problem is not related to the case number 2. Okay, and they have not stated that fin is very long and the end temperature of fin or fin tip temperature is equal to the ambient air temperature. Okay, so that this problem is not related to the case number 1. Okay, case number 1 is our infinite long fin, so this problem is not related to the case number 1. And how we are consider that this problem is related to case number 3, because here they have provided the finite length of finite length fin. Okay, second one is they have not provided fin is insulated, so the problem is not related to case number 2. So we can say that the problem is related to the case number 3, so that we have to consider the formulas related to the case number 3. Okay, we have to consider the formulas related to the case number 3. In this manner, you have to distinguish the problem statement according to the case number 1, case number 2, and case number 3. And then only you have to apply the formulas of that particular case to that particular problem statement. Okay. Okay, have you drawn this? Now we have to write the given data. So length of fin, that is L, is equal to 40 mm. Width of fin is 240 mm, and the thickness of fin, that is Y, is equal to 15 mm. Then best temperature, that is the maximum temperature of the body, motor body, is 55 degrees Celsius. So that will be considered as the best temperature, T naught. T naught is equal to 55 degrees Celsius. And the ambient air temperature or atmospheric temperature is given as 30 degrees Celsius. So TA is equal to 30 degrees Celsius. Heat transfer coefficient and thermal conductivity values are provided, and each are having 40 quantity, or we can say that H is equal to 40 watt per meter square degree Celsius and K is equal to 40 watt per meter degree Celsius. Okay, so this is the given data about this particular problem. Write down the given data. So once you consider that the problem is related to the case number 3, we have to remember that particular formula, and accordingly we have to start the solution. So if the problem is related to case number 3, then in that case we have to consider the formula for the heat transfer rate of case number 3. So in case of in this case, the formula is under root of Q fin is equal to under root of P multiplied by H multiplied by K multiplied by A suffix CS under root complete whole multiplied by T naught minus TA multiplied by in fraction tan hyperbolic of ml plus H divided by Km whole divided by 1 plus H divided by Km multiplied by tan hyperbolic of ml. So that formula we have to consider. You can write that formula after this given data. So then you will come to know that what are the quantities are known and what are the quantities we need to determine to put up that quantities in that particular formula. Okay, have you written the given data? Okay, so formula we need to consider Q fin. This formula we need to consider Q fin is equal to H multiplied by P multiplied by A multiplied by K multiplied by A suffix CS multiplied by T naught minus TA whole multiplied by in the fraction tan hyperbolic of ml plus H divided by Km whole divided by 1 plus H divided by Km multiplied by tan hyperbolic of ml. This formula we need to consider. Now determine which quantities are given in the problem as a given data and which quantities we need to determine. Okay. So H is given in the problem, so we need not to determine. P is not given, that we have to determine. K is given quantity. A suffix is not given. Then T naught and TA are the given quantity. M we have to calculate. Then H is given, K is given, M we have to calculate. Okay. So P, A suffix CS and M. These quantities we have to determine initially to use this particular formula. Okay. So equation, what is mean by P? P is equal to how much? 2 multiplied by B plus Y. B plus Y. 2 multiplied by B plus Y. Okay. So is equal to inside bracket B, how much width? 240 mm. Okay. 240 mm. Yani 0.240. Okay. So 0.24 and Y is 15 mm. 0.015, right? So calculate this, multiply by 2. Calculate the perimeter and let me know your values. Please let me know your values because 0.51. Okay, I don't have the values. I have directly the final answer. So please let me know your values. Then great. 0.55 is the value, everyone? 0.55? Okay, great. Then cross section area. Next one is cross section area. A suffix CS is equal to A suffix CS is equal to B multiplied by Y. B multiplied by Y. Okay, which is equal to 0.24 multiplied by 0.015. Okay, so what will be the cross section area? It will be in a meter. Okay, perimeter will be in a meter and cross section area will be in a meter square. Meter square. Okay, calculate this and put up your value in the chat box. Then you require, once you calculate the P and cross section area, then it will be easy to calculate the M value. So M is equal to under root of H multiplied by P divided by K multiplied by A suffix CS. And do the calculation for the same and find out the M also. So M 40 multiply by P is 0.51, K is once again 40, I think, multiply by how much cross section area you are getting? 3.6 into 10 raised to minus 3. Okay. 3.6 into 10 raised to -3. Okay, so just put up this value in the m and find out the m also. M also. Okay, determine the m value, everyone. M is equal to 11.90. Great. 11.90. Okay, m you are getting. Now further it will be easy to use this formula now. Okay, use this formula, put up all the quantities in the formula and determine q fin. I will put up the values. M is 40, H is 40, P is 0.21, I think 0.51. 1 multiplied by K is 40. 40 multiplied by A suffix CS is 3.6 into control C. 3.6 into T naught is 55 and TA is 30. TA 30. Okay. Tan hyperbolic of M multiplied by L. If you perform the calculation of that particular M multiplied by L outside, then also no problem. And if you perform inside 11.9 multiplied by L how much? L 40 mm, 0.04, 0.04. Okay, so H 40 divided by 40 multiplied by M is 11.9. 1 plus H 40 divided by K 40 multiplied by 11.9 tan hyperbolic of 11.9 multiplied by 0.04. Okay. 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 So in this manner, you can continue this. Okay. So after this, so in this manner, very small we are. It is very small. Find out Q fin, everyone. Change to display. Okay. So here you take the values. Okay. Here 55 minus 30 is there. Okay. And the bracket is there. Find out the Q fin. Do calculation, everyone. Slowly do the calculation because complicated calculations are there. So do one by one. If you perform the calculation for 19.6 multiplied by 0.04, then take the tan hyperbolic of that. So this will be repeated 2 times. Then if you perform the calculation H divided by K multiplied by M, that is 40 divided by 40, put it 2 times. Then do the addition of that 2 things. Then do the addition of denominator and then do the fraction and then subtract, multiply with 55 minus 30 and then do the calculation for under root of this and then multiply all the things. Do the calculation for Q fin. And put up your answer in the chat box. $21.72. Okay, 21.72. Everyone getting the same answer? Others, you also comment in the chat box. 21.72. Whether you are getting same answer or different one. Everyone, you can comment your answer in the chat box. 20. Sachin is getting 21.72. So this will be the, if the answer is same one, then this will be the heat transfer from one fin. Okay, heat transfer from one fin. So we have to determine the total number of fins. How many fins we require? How many fins we require? That is the number of fins required. Number of fins required to transfer the amount of heat. That is total amount of heat we have to transfer as how much quantity we have to transfer? We have to transfer 340 watt. Okay, so we can say that here Q total divided by Q fin. Okay, which is equal to Q total is how much? Q total is 340 and our Q fin we have determined 21.72. Okay, how many fins you are getting? 340 divided by 21.72. Number of fins. Do the calculation. Please let me know number of fins you are getting. $340 divided by 21.72. It's near about 15.65, right? 15.65, right? 15.65. Okay, so that will be equal to, or here any symbol is symbol. Okay. Which is, we can say that is equal to 16. Okay, which is equal to 16. Okay. Okay, 15.65 fins nahi hote. Okay, so we have to take the complete number. So total number of fins will be 16. 16 fins we required to transfer the 340 watt of heat from that particular body. Okay, is there any question, any doubt up till now whether you understood the case number 3 and the problem related to that? Please let me know if you have any doubt, any question. And if you understood everything, then you can comment in the chat box that understood, not understood, somewhat understood, nothing understood. Okay. Everything understood? Or is there any doubt? Any question? Okay, if you don't have any doubt, any question, you can comment your roll numbers in the chat box, and you can leave this meeting, no issue. So in the tomorrow's lecture, we are going to discuss the FIN effectiveness and FIN efficiency. Okay, what is meant by FIN effectiveness and what is meant by FIN efficiency, that we will discuss in the tomorrow's lecture. Everyone comment your roll numbers in the chat box and you can leave this meeting, because I'm going to close this meeting, and after that your roll numbers will not be recorded and you will be absent marked. 67, 44, 73, 68, 68, 15, 62, 47. If you are not sleeping, then you can comment the roll numbers in the chat box, or else I will do on behalf of you and I will kick it out of the meeting. 73, 3, 15, 62, 1. Put up your roll numbers in the chat box and leave the meeting.